ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः।
Dear friends, welcome back to the study of the Bhagavad Gita, and we are in the study of the chapter 4. It has been nomenclatured as, it is known as, chapter on Jnana Yoga. That is, how to achieve oneness with the Absolute through an intellectual rational culture or an intellectual rational attitude. Now, we have covered 24 shlokas, and I may say we have covered the most important, informative, educative, instructive, descriptive portion of this chapter, up to 24. Now, from 25 to shloka number 34 is something which is very, I would say, archaic, very prosaic. Therefore, it might appear to us as obsolete, not relevant to the present day world. But then, why don't we try to open up ourselves and take our thinking back few thousand years ago and try and understand why the shloka number 25th to 34th, 10 of them, appear to be so out of context, irrelevant. It is relevant to such type of persons who find out a relevance in it, not that it is relevant to all and sundry. Whereas, from the first shloka to the 24th shloka, it is relevant to a modern man. Only we have to understand it in a modern perspective. Let me have a bird's eye view of these and then proceed to the 25th shloka, which is equally important. Almost a conclusive shloka of this section of thinking. Sri Krishna says, it is I, to start with the 4th chapter, it is I who have given these instructions of Karma Yoga to Sun, to Manu, to Ikshaku, Vivaswan, Manu, Ikshaku, and etc., etc., etc. Up till now, up till now, Arjuna admired the wisdom of his cousin brother. But it is high time for Arjuna, and through Arjuna to all of us, the students of the Gita, we really try to know who Sri Krishna is. So Sri Krishna is introducing himself in such a manner. I am the person who have advised about this Karma Yoga to Vivaswan, to Manu, to Ikshaku, and others and others and others, including Janaka Ashapati of very near history. Good enough? Arjuna catches it. He asks him, Sir, you are talking something which is not I would say, rational or commonsensical. I know you to be my cousin brother, a little elderly, मेरे बुआ का लड़का, son of my aunt. I understand everything. But how come you tell me that you are the person who has instructed somebody who were born thousands of years ago? How is that possible? And that is how Sri Krishna creates this question in our mind, the concept of an avatara, which has been highly analyzed, discussed, and I would say formed into a concept in the Hindu culture. Whereas others, we say, oh, he's a man of God, he's a prophet, he's a man of God, and etc. etc. The concept of incarnation, that is, God willfully, Parama Ishvara, Saguna Sakara Brahma, he willfully is born in a human society at a time and place of his own choice to re-establish the lost veracity, the lost relevance of what is spiritual wisdom and how to achieve it while living in this world. Avatarana, and that is an avatar. He is born with this purpose, but he has no personal axe to grind. Swaprayojana abhava api san. He has no personal axe to grind. He does it for the welfare of his children because he wants his children who happens to go wayward, he wants them to be back on track and ultimately they reach the divine goal of oneness with their Maker in heaven, according to Christianity, to be a perfect specimen of a slave, Khuda ka banda, according to Islam, and to merge with their original nature, according to Vedanta, Advaita Siddhanta. According to Dvaita Siddhanta, it is at par with all others. God is, he is totally different, but I can be a perfect servant of the divine. To that extent that my whole being is saturated with the sense of service to my master. That is the purpose of being born. Now Sri Krishna doesn't stop there, explaining why he is born, dharmasya sthapana and adharmasya, etc., etc. Then he says, Janma karma chame divyam, shloka number 9. My janma, my karma is divyam. Divyam means illuminative, effulgent. That is, if you understand it in its correct perspective, you will be saved from the endless cycle of birth and death, and having saved yourself from this cycle, where do you go? You come and merge in me. Punarjanma naeti mam eti. He does not become a victim of the cycle of birth and death over and over again. He comes and merges with me. So now you see how when I say that the Gita has to be read with 4 ideas uppermost in our mind. every word and shloka is informative. And information which I have never known, never thought of. A new information. What is that? That life of an avatara is illuminative, is effulgent, where there is no darkness of non-understanding. He who knows that as it is, tat tatah, ya evam veti tat tatah, the thing in itself, without any spice and salt of my fertile brain. To see the thing in itself, veti tat tatah, one who understands that each and every act and deed of my life is an illuminative process for other to follow, whereby he will be capable of realizing and experiencing oneness with me. That capacity of being oneness, tadakara akarita bhavati, tad vrittirudeti, tadakara akarita bhavati. The human mind is created in such a way, as soon as your mind approaches something, the mind wraps itself up in that and becomes one with it. When you say, I see this chair, and I know that chair, that knowledge arises because you have become one with the chair for the time being. Tat akara akarita bhavati. Tat akara means vritti akara. A vritti comes in my mind, and what is that vritti? The mind flows through your sense organs into the object of your vision, and it becomes one, brings it back, and your Chaitanya illuminates it, and you say, I know this is a chair. Objective. What is subjective? I know I am. That is a subjective. But my knowledge of my amness is erroneous. It is identifying with the body-mind complex. Sadhana is to train your mind in such a manner it does not get attached to anything else. It goes straight to the origin. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, if a thread has small fibers around, it will not go through the eye of a needle. But when you make it absolutely smooth without any fiber, you can push it through the eyes of a needle. You have to make your mind sansita brataha. You are absolutely refined and reformed, sharpened, honed, polished. Then tadakara akarita bhavati. What is that? The vritti will be ayam atma brahma. He says to study the life, the teachings and life's behavior pattern of an avatara in a true, correct perspective, that itself is a sadhana, and you can reach that goal. And then he starts instruction. One by one he is instructing you, you have to be this, you have to be this, you have to be this, you have to Sangsita Brataha, you have to be this, Suddhatma, you have to be that. All the shlokas leads to this goal. And what is that? Yajnaya acharata karma. That is how he says in the previous shloka, shloka number 24. Yajnaya acharata karma samagram praviliyate. If you have mastered the art of converting your flow of life, not segments of life in time and space, no, your whole flow of life, if you have been able to convert it into worshipfulness of the divine, samagram karma praviliyate. The bondage between karma and karma phala and my expectation, that expectation will be totally annihilated, totally removed, totally destroyed. And he tells you the ultimate solution: compare your life with an endless yajna. What is yajna? Yajna vai Vishnu, offering to the Saguna Sakara Brahma, Parama Ishvara Ishvara, not Nirguna now. Don't think of Nirguna now. What happens? You are today a jiva. You have identified yourself with your body-mind complex. Saptadasha lingani shukshma sharirani. Pancha indriya, pancha gyanendriya, pancha karmendriya, pancha prana, 3 into 5 is 15, mana and buddhi, 17. Chitta and Atma remain separate. Chitta is the cause of creating vrittis. Chitta, vritti, udeti. Good enough? As soon as vritti is formed, it is illuminated by your Chaitanya, which is your true original nature, which you think is a mechanical process, and modern neuroscientists say some electricity is generated in the brains. But it is your true original nature, Sat-Sarup, Chit-Sarup, Ananda-Sarup. Absolute. That absolute of Bhashavada, it is being transformed, transmitted through Chitta and Ahankar. So you have to educate yourself after studying all these shlokas, informative, educative, instructive, and to avoid self-deception, descriptive. Does it tally with what the scriptures say? If it does, you are safe. If not, you are in the process of deluding, deceiving yourself, making yourself a victim of hallucination. Don't spare yourself. If you spare yourself, you are in great danger. You'll end up in a hypocrite. Please be very careful. So he says here, now you convert the whole flow of life, morning till night, night till morning, till the last breath of your life. What? I live for thee. My life is totally dedicated to you. Karma converted into puja, upasana. That is karma yoga. That is, today I am egocentric, I am physically active, emotionally active, rationally active, and I am egoistically active. And while I am active, I expect results for my activity in all these 4 different planes. Now, when I sit for worship, I am physically active. I am showing incense sticks to God. I am ringing the bell. I am offering fruit and flowers. I am physically active. Rationally, I am told to see that which is signified by the picture. Not the picture. The picture signifies Saguna Brahma. Rationally, though you see the picture, but while you are worshipping, you should be aware of the presence of the divine, anchoring the vision of the picture. So, you are emotionally active, you want to interact with God, you are physically active, you are rationally active, you are egoistically active. I am worshipping. But one thing you see, in worshipping, you are supposed to be aware with the presence of the divine all through the process. In egocentric activity, awareness of divine is not there. So what is the difference between karma and karma yoga? What is the difference between jagatic karma, worldly activity, and worshipfulness? The only difference is you have a 5th dimension over and above the standard 4. 4 are on both sides. Physical involvement, emotion involvement, rational involvement, egoistic involvement. It's on both sides. But as soon as it becomes awareness of the presence of the divine, and I offer myself totally to you, I want nothing but dedication for you. You are free from your karma. And evam veti tattah sa ma veti. He comes and belongs to me, merges with me. This has been finalized in the shloka number 24, which we have finally read, and we move on to shloka number 25 after revising 24. It's very important. What does it say? Yajna vai Vishnu. Another name of Yajna is Vishnu, that is Saguna Brahma, Parameshwara, and Yajna is also known as Atman in one of the Nirukta, one of the dictionaries. And it is authorized, authentic. But let us stop here. Here let us start with Yajna vai Vishnu. What you do in Yajna? There's a strict, disciplined ritual. You collect firewood, you arrange the place for the yajna, then you draw figures on the sand or the soil, and then you arrange your timber, fuel wood, everything disciplinedly done. no freedom. Why? You are being disciplined. Your ego is being put in its proper place. I am not going to hear anything. This has to be done in this way. When a teacher says that, you say he is autocratic. I don't listen to him. He is dictatorial. But the scriptures say to discipline yourself, to manage your own mind, I will give you such instructions which you have no right to change, no right to do anything else. Do it. Why? To submit your ego, to make it as good as an obedient, trained dog. So what do? Then you take your clarified butter, Gita, kosha, kushi, and all that, fruits, flowers, rice, and you keep on. Swaha, swaha, swaha. All the time, that fire represents the divine. And all the elements that you do, they are nothing else but symbols of various vrittis and various assets of your life. They are nothing else but the divine, and you pour the divine in the divine. That means every moment of your life during performance of yajna becomes an intense awareness of presence of the divine in your life. Now, this concept has been modernized in the Gita and finally by Sri Ramakrishna, the Holy Mother, and Swamiji, the Divine Trinity, into the concept of Karma Yoga in modern time. Karma means activity. Activity and life are synonymous. Since you are born and since you leave your last breath, you are active. Convert that sense of action into worship. And what is the added fifth dimension? Awareness of presence of the divine every moment of your life. This concept is being symbolically mentioned in it, in the Shloka 24. Brahma Arpanam. Whatever you are oblating to the fire with Swaha and Swaha and Swaha, know that to be in essence Brahman. Brahma Havi, the clarified butter Ghritam that you give, that is in essence Brahman. Brahmarpanam Brahmavi. Brahmagno. The Agni is Brahma Swarup. And he who is offering, that person is also Brahman. It is Brahman who is offering itself to Brahman. Nothing but the concept of Brahman. Diversity is slowly and slowly disappearing into unity. Ekatattva-vad. Ekatattva, Brahma Tattva. Brahmarpanam, Brahmavi, Brahmagno, Brahmanahutam. What for? Tena, by this procedure, Brahmaiva Gantabhyam. You have to reach Brahman. That is why you have to saturate your whole being with the concept of Brahma. Brahma karma samadhina. By performing the flow of your life, converting that performance from egocentric activity to divine-centric worship. Here I told you, I'm sorry. Here I told you in the previous discourse, I will give you 3 incidents, of which I gave you 1. After his Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Sri Ramakrishna is alive for a pretty long time. And how did he live? The birds were chirping in the morning. And he heard that the birds were reciting the Vedas. Veda is Brahma Prakashak. And in his absolutely idiomatic way, using an idiom, in his Bengali he says, Jekhane jekhane amar nojor pade, আমি দেখি ব্রহ্ম উকি ঝুঁকি মারছেন. Typical Bengali, and I'll translate you typically. Children, they love to play. They hide behind the chair. They peep up. You makes a noise and again hides. You know it is there. Occasionally you see, but it remains hidden behind the chair. Nama Rupa Guna Artha Kriya Karitha is the covering. Nama Rupa Guna, name, form, qualities and utilitarian value in this society. Behind that, Sri Ramakrishna says, wherever I see, like a peeping Tom, Brahma comes up and again hides itself. Covered up by this foe and uncovered by the foe. That is what Bhavamukha. You turn to the right, you are in Nirguna Avastha. You turn to the left, you are in Saguna Avastha. A tightrope walking. Now, there's another incident. It's wonderful. Brahmananda Ji was passing away. It is in the books if you have read so, but it has rung a bell in my mind when I studied this shloka. Time was coming to the and he was expressing the ecstatic joy of having a divine play with Sri Krishna. Ecstatic joy. And he was defining that. And a Shevak had some Charanamrita, the sacred water offered to the temple. It is generally the Indian custom to repeat God's name in the ears and to give Charanamrita in the mouth so that he remembers God in his last departing time. It helps him to be born better, whatever it may be. The Shevak said, Maharaj, I brought a little Charanamrita. Would you kindly take it? Brahmananda Ji looked at him with a broad smile. He said, Ore, Brahma Dhelede. I don't know how to translate, but the spirit has to be understood. I see nothing but Brahman everywhere. What you call Charanamrita is Brahman for me. You pour Brahman into Brahman. That is what was his experience. Brahme Brahma Dhelide. Pour Brahman in the form of Charanamrita into Brahman. That is what I am. Brahme Brahma Dhelide. This is Brahmanandaji's departure. The next I want to tell you another, Hari Maharaj, Swami Turiyanandaji. As you know, he was a Kattar Vedanti. Brahma Satta Jagat Mitha. The world is an illusion. The eternal reality is Brahman. And you must saturate yourself with the concept of that Brahman so that you become one with Brahman. When he was passing, Swami Anantanandaji, he was one of his Shivak for a short time. I heard it from him. He told Maharaj, what is your last advice? To his utter surprise, Hari Maharaj Turiyanandaji said, Brahma Shatta Jagat Sat. A person who throughout his life has taught all the Swamis Brahma Satta Jagat Mitha. How come that Swami at the end of his life says Jagat Satta? I heard it. I didn't ask any questions to Anantanandaji. I had my own views. Probably his saturation point was more than full. He did not see any diversity anywhere. I was thinking, when I went to study from Jagadanandaji Maharaj, I asked him this question because Jagadanandaji was created by Hari Maharaj. So I thought he has an authority to speak about Hari Maharaj. I asked him. He laughed and laughed and laughed, listening to my question. How does this brainwave come to you? You want to find out a contradiction in Hari Maharaj's life? A person who has always taught Jagat Mitha, how could you say Jagat Satta? Do you want to find a contradiction in his life? I kept quiet. Then he came out. At that time, before passing away, this whole world has lost its identity. Nama, Rupa, Guna, Artha, Kriya, Karita. It is all lost. It is Brahman and Brahman alone. Theoretically, that is what it said when you experience Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That means when he said so, he has upgraded the teaching. Don't pay any attention to the world. The world does not exist. It is Brahman alone. Jagat, you may say so, but it is Satya, it is Brahman. Everything that you see is Brahman. That is how Jagadanandaji explained it to me. Why did he say Jagat Satta in his deathbed? All this, dear, you find emblemed here, embalmed here in this short sloka. That convert your life into an endless yajna, and the end result is you will be free from the cycle of birth and death, and you will merge with the divine, not to come back again. Now let us move on to the 25th shloka. The 25th shloka to the 34th shloka. There are various aspects of yajna. And what is it? Sacrifice something to the reality. That which is not real, let it burn itself away and merge with reality. That which is not real, let it burn itself away in Brahmagno and be merged with the reality. So let us read this. And all these few shlokas up to 34, I will not try to spend time on explaining you to relevance. I'll give you a suggestion and we'll move on. After all, we are revising the Gita, not a shlok to shlok study. Let us read the 25th shloka. Daivam apare yagyam, Daivam eva apare yagyam, yogina paryupashate, brahmagno apare yagyam, yagyaneva upajuhati. The apara shabda has been used twice in both the lines. The others. Apara means others. Who are those others? Those are excluded by the performers of Brahmarpanam, Brahmavi, Brahmagno, Brahmanautam, Brahmaivatena Gantabhyam, Brahma Karma Samadhi. Apart from those, who are those apart from those? Who are those apart from those people? There are people. They do perform yajna with a desire and expectation in their mind to fulfill it. There are people. So they perform yajna to satisfy Indra, Varuna, Agni, so on and so forth, Vayu. And they expect charms, strength, charms, or benefits or blessings from them. They are not karma yogis. They are yajnakaris. They perform the yajna, but they are performing with ichha, that is, with some expectation, pratyasha or asha. Result-oriented performance. They will get the results that they want. But who are the others? Here, yajna word has been used. One usage is the Atman. Yajna has been, as I told you initially, has been translated into Atman. Yajna is also a performance, ritualistic performance. One group apare, they do it with vasana, with desire to be fulfilled. Daivam apare yajna, yogina paryupashate. And others, what they do? Brahman is Agni for them, and Atman is the Ahuti. So they offer themselves to that. What does it mean? In commonsensical terms, they are trying to remove that separate sense of egoism. They are burning that ego into the awareness of Brahman. And in language, in paribhasha, special word, Ayam Atma Brahma. That is their yajna. They are constantly aware that what I know as I am, this jiva, is in essence the Brahman. That is a type of yajna that they perform. So he is now classifying various types of yajnas that can be performed. But please be very careful. Sri Ramakrishna had said, Kolite jiver annagata pran. In Kali Yuga, in the modern age, fight for survival, fight to live, struggle to live, to earn and to carry on, consumes away all your energy. Therefore, in Kali Yuga, Jnana Mishra Bhakti Prashasta. That is Karma Yoga. Jnana Mishra Bhakti. Bhakti blended with Jnanam, Jnanam softened with Bhakti. That is the best Karma Yoga. And the practical connotation of Jnana Mishra Bhakti is Karma Yoga, as Swamiji testified. Now here what is happening? 25th sloka, I'm making it an example of all other slokas. There are various types of offerings. Most of them offerings with an idea of something in return. Sakama yajna. Let me very particular use the correct scriptural words. Yajna acharana, performance of yajna, is motivated by sakama karma. I want a result, worldly. It will give you the result and you will be in the world. The other people, they have a particular technique of performing yajna. They don't go for all that ritual and etc., etc. What is their ritual? They conceive, they imagine, they think seriously. Brahman is the absolute. It burns away all dirt and dross and everything. Jivatma is a limited concept full of dirt and dross and attachment and this and this. I take this dirty Jivatma and I offer into that burning fire known as Brahman. It's internal. The world does not know. You and your God only know. But it has to be constantly done. And what is the platform holding on to which you can go ahead? I am Atma Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Atma Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi will come automatically when the saturation point is 100%. Prior to that, it is I am Atma Brahma. I know this is it. I am burning myself away, burning away all my dirt and dross by offering myself to the pure, the absolute the immutable, the infinite, and the eternal. This is the essential meaning of the 25th shloka. Let me read it for you once again. Daivam eva apare yajñah, Daivam eva apare yajñam, yogina paryupashate. They keep on performing. Brahmagno apare yajñam. Yajñam eva upajuhati. Upajuhati means offers. There you are offering material and requesting material gains. Here you know Brahman is the eternal fire. Fire purifies everything, and I am offering this Jivatma full of dirt and dross to that fire to be burned pure and be one with that fire. I am Atma Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi is the word which we will experience when you are 100% saturated. Prior to that, it will be only a word. So dears, this is how, up to the 34th shloka, various aspects of yajna will be mentioned. And most of the aspects are to be found very well highlighted in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. That is the beauty of it. That is Madhusudana Saraswati, who wrote a bhashya, not a bhashya, a tika, on the Gita, Bhagavad Gita. He makes use of these 10 shlokas to give a cross-reference to those areas of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, who says our yajna procedure has to carry it on inside. My eyes go out and see the object. Let my eyes go out. Let the object let go its name, form, utility, and guna. I see that essence. That is a yajna for me. I am doing purposely identifying myself with the Brahman, and all that comes in between is being burnt away by the fire of yajna. This is the main theme of all these remaining 9 shlokas. I will occasionally remind you that, but I may not spend much time explaining all the intricacies of Patanjali's Yoga Darshana in these spaces. Thank you, dear. Thank you ever so much. God bless you all.
Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.